Hello, my name is John Rhimes. I do a fair amount of traveling, and one thing I've noticed in all of my travels is that there seems to be this political debate everywhere you go about who is here first, who has the longest longevity in whichever area of the world you go. For example, right even here in my home in Salt Lake City, Utah, there is this strange political debate about who was here first. So, oddly, people will spend money on this. There are billboards around here, around on the interstate and things like that, saying this traveler, this camping guy back from like the 1800s showed up here first, before the Mormons did. And even in downtown here, they have on the light poles, they have these little teardrop-shaped water signs that say, water is older than the sun. You know, it's strange. So, you know, before Christ and after Christ, and, you know, something as simple as a mall, you know, who has the oldest covered mall, for example, supposedly that's in Milan, but maybe somewhere else. And if somebody says something else, it might even be a lie. They're just trying to prove a point, basically. So, what is the truth? What is the truth? I see this political debate as part of a larger argument in the world. It's not just politics, it's science, it's religion, it's travel, it's socioeconomic status, it's all these debates, but you have to find the root cause of this argument. Now, in science, they call it string theory. Now, in science, in physics, there is this logistical fallacy about two worlds. You have the nuclear world, and you have the larger, you know, like the physical world. The nuclear world you can't see, it's at the very small, it's at the atomic level. And then you have the larger world that you see all around us. Excuse me. So, in the larger physical world, the laws of gravity work, the laws of, you know, all those equations work out fine. You know, if I jump up, I'm gonna come back to the floor and all that stuff. Any little elevation in gravity is essentially an amount of heat. So that's why when Starship, when it re-lands, you know, it goes all the way up. And when it comes down, it has to burn off all that energy in altitude, basically in heat. I'm not gonna get into all the physics of all of it, but that's how it works. Well, that argument breaks down when you get to the very small atomic level, which you can't see. At those very small levels, nuclear physics takes over, and, you know, what holds the atom together are nuclear forces, which are way stronger than the forces of gravity. So, very smart physicists and engineers, or, you know, cosmologists, you know, even Einstein thought, you know, how do we reconcile these two arguments? In physics, with a unified, ended up calling it a unified string theory. This is the theory or the equation that solves everything in the world, at least in physics. So they haven't come up with that yet. They've tried so hard, and every time they do, they come up with parallel universes, and, you know, an unlimited number of parallel universes, and all these strange things which don't really seem to make sense. So you could just say there's the physics of the nuclear world, but we won't go there. We want to figure this out. So really, it's a combination. The rule is there are no paradoxes in the universe. Everything makes sense. It all jives. Dark energy, light energy, everything. Well, if there are no paradoxes, how does this all work? Well, I'll tell you. Who was here first is the basis of the argument. Who was here first? So you're going to nickel and dime the whole thing if you keep going back to, well, this person was here first over here, and that was built first over there by this person, who built the pyramids, and that was built at a certain date. You have to go back to the very beginning, even before the Big Bang. What was here before the Big Bang? Well, the answer lies in the Holy Bible, and I dare say, the Book of Mormon. This also is the key. With those two books, now, we're wrapping up the Holy Bible very shortly. We're in the end times. But without getting off onto that tangent, what was at the start? How do we put this all together? Well, the Big Bang did create the universe. That's truth, that's science. It's been going on for over 14 billion years. But what sparked that and what was prior to the Big Bang? Well, you know what? Religion steps in and says, this is how it is. You know what was here before that Big Bang? There was a slain lamb, a dead lamb, a sacrificial lamb, laying in its own pool of blood. That slain lamb looked forward in time to see you and me and your friends and my friends and our friends look through that magic mirror of time all the way to right now and into the future. That slain lamb and its blood is still there today. That universe that we live in right now, what's beyond that universe? It's expanding and expanding. What's outside of that? Well, if we were to actually able to, at a technological level, be able to expand our travel, to travel faster than the expansion of the universe, and to travel to the edge of the universe and look around that corner, we would see that slain lamb, that sacrificial lamb, laying in its own blood, a big puddle. Now, this revelation is for you and for me and for all the generations beyond us, as long as the Lord will tarry. So when someone comes to you in the land and says, you know what, there's an older mall here. This isn't the oldest covered mall in the world. There's one over in Kentucky. You say, flee from me, thou foul demon. You know what's older than that? Older than the Big Bang? Jesus and that slain lamb. Happy travels.